Consumer mathematics, simple interest. If you either take out a loan, borrow money, or give a loan, lend money, a fee is usually paid by the person borrowing the money to the person giving a loan. This fee is called interest. Loans can involve simple interest or compound interest. We will limit this discussion to simple interest. The formula for simple interest is equal to principal, P, times rate, R, times time, T. P, principal, is the original amount of the loan, R is the annual interest rate, and T is time in years for the length of the loan. However, if you take out a loan, you're not just interested in the interest, because when you pay the loan, you've got to pay what's called the future value of that simple interest loan. And that future value, what you have to pay back, A, is equal to the amount you borrowed, the principal, plus the interest that you've agreed to pay. Well, interest is equal to principal times rate times time, so what we can do is have the future value, the amount you have to pay at the end of the loan, is what you borrowed plus the interest, principal times rate times time. Well, what you borrowed, P, can be thought of as P times 1, then plus P times RT, and then, from algebra class, P is common to both these terms. We can factor that out. And so we have A, the future value of the loan, is equal to the principal, what you borrowed, times in parentheses the quantity, 1 plus RT. And that's how the formula for future value of simple interest is derived. Well, let's look at some applied problems involving simple interest. Our first problem is, if we invest $3,250 at 4% simple interest for 10 years, how much interest will we earn? Well, we have to look for some keywords when we read these problems. And keywords here involve simple interest, so we know we need to use a simple interest formula, but we have two of those, so if we continue looking for keywords, the question says, how much interest will we earn? So we're looking for interest. We want I. Well, the formula for simple interest, I, is it's equal to P, the principal, times the rate, times the time. Okay? What we invest is the principal. Our annual rate in decimal form is 0.04, and then the number of years is 10. So the interest is equal to the $3,250 we invest times the annual interest rate, 0.04, times the number of years that we have this loan, times 10 years. So let's see what that's going to be. $3,250 times 0.04 times 10. We're going to have interest of $1,300, or we are, since we're investing, we will earn $1,300 in interest. Let's look at another example. If you invest $500 at 6.5% simple interest for 4 years, how much money will you have at the end of your investment? Well, first of all, I see that we're talking simple interest, so I'll have to use a simple interest formula. Now the question is, how much money will you have at the end of the investment? If we're trying to figure out how much money we will have at the end of the investment, we're trying to find the future value. We're trying to find A. Well, for simple interest, the future value A is equal to the principal times parentheses 1 times the rate times the time. Well, we know what we invested. What we invested, our principal, is $500. Our interest rate, 6.5%, is 6.5%, which in decimal form is 0.065. And then here's our time, 4 years. So the amount of money we'll have at the end of the investment is the $500 we invested times the quantity 1 plus 0.065 times the 4 years. So let's see what we're going to have here. We'll have 500 times parentheses 1 plus 0.065 times 4 2600 is 0.26. So the amount will be 500 times 1.26, and 500 times 1.26 will be $630. At the end of the investment, we'll have $630. That's the $500 we invested plus the interest we earned. Now, one comment, we can actually go right here at this step and type all of that directly into our calculator, and it will go directly to our final answer. So let's do that. 500 times parentheses 1 plus 0.065 times 4, close parentheses, and in one step we get our $630, which is the amount at the end of the investment.